What's up guys, Josiah LaRue here. So today we're going to be talking about some of the latest news in technology. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about some more news from Apple, from Nvidia, as well as Microsoft and Toshiba. So let's go. So for our first bit of news is going to be a little bit more Apple news. So last week I talked about the whole Apple event, how they were releasing the iPhones, Apple Pay, and Apple Watch. Well, 1 week has passed and now they are releasing the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus as well as iOS 8. iOS 8 came out and became available for download for the iPhone 4S technically, but you really shouldn't run it on it just because it's so old and so slow. The 5, the 5S, the 5C, as well as the 6 and 6 Plus, which are going to have it preloaded. Other hardware it supports is the iPad 2, which again, kind of like the 4S, kind of slow. I recommend it on the 3, the 4, the iPad Air, the iPad Mini, the iPad Mini Retina, and the iPod Touch 5th generation. So if you have any of those devices, go ahead and update to iOS 8. It's packed full of awesome features. Probably the best one I like is predictive keyboard and swipe. Yes, you can finally get swipe or third-party keyboards on your iPhone. It's so amazing. I've been using it for the last couple of days and I love it. I've been using the predictive keyboard the whole entire beta, and that's been really cool, but I like the swipe keyboard too. It's pretty dang awesome. As for the iPhone and iPhone 6, the demand has been amazing. When it went available for pre-order a couple days after the whole Apple event, within a couple hours of it going live, the ship date for these iPhones has already slipped to about a month out. So if you haven't pre-ordered one and set to pick it up in stores, you're not going to be getting one. You can't just walk in and grab one because they're all going to be assigned to people showing up on that day. I mean, the chances of you finding one is very, very slim. So for a lot of you, if you haven't pre-ordered, get your orders in now, and you know you're going to have to wait a couple weeks, but those iPhones are coming. A staggering amount of people want this phone. Not only iPhone users who are upgrading from the 4S or the 5 or whatever to these bigger, faster phones, but also a shocking amount of Android users who are finally coming back to the iPhone because they like the platform, but they just wanted a phone that was bigger than 4 inches. And now that the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus are the same size as other Android flagship models, like the Samsung Galaxy S5 or the HTC One M8, or other larger screen phones, more and more Android users and Windows users and other ones are considering Apple as finally another competitor to this market, being as for so long they had great software, but it was on kind of, lower end phones as a lot of the market would consider it. But now with these larger screen phones, better processors, better graphics, better screens, a thinner, more awesome design, a lot of people are coming over to get them. So that's another reason why demand is so high and stock is so limited right now. But if you give it a month or so, if you don't need to upgrade right away, you're going to have plenty of opportunity to get the new iPhone. Apple's going to be selling a metric butt ton of these, as Linus from Linus Tech Tips would say. Anyways, a ton of these phones because everyone's going to want them and because they're awesome phones. I personally am hoping to kind of upgrade in December once my plan comes, flush for that. So we'll see. I'm pretty excited for this phone. So our next bit of news, we're going to be talking about Nvidia, specifically the new Nvidia GeForce GTX 980. Yes, that's right. Nvidia has launched another new graphics series, the 900 series, on their Maxwell-based CPU chip, or GPU chip. There have been a lot of rumors floating around about the 980 and about the whole 900 series, that it was coming soon or whatever. Several of the bigger people in the tech world were invited to a press conference that Nvidia had about 2 or 3 days ago, where they kind of talked about all this and gave these people reference cards and other stuff to go out and start benchmarking and working on. And finally it's here, the Nvidia GeForce GTX 980. It's really a successor to the 700 and 600 series. The 800 series was kind of glossed over. I think a lot of it went to the mobile side, but here it is, the 900 series. The 980 is incredibly powerful yet energy efficient and at a very low cost point of only $550. Yet it only uses 2 6-pin power connectors, the same as a GTX 680, which is quite astounding, yet it has amazing power as well. It can route 4K to 4 different displays simultaneously. It has a 1.1 GHz core clock speed that turbo boosts automatically to 1.2 GHz, 2048 CUDA cores, and 4 GB of GDDR5 onboard video memory. And what they can do with this thing is quite amazing. Well, there's not many cards to really reference it against except for older generations. The 980 doesn't necessarily smoke everybody, particularly those like Titans or Titan Blacks or whatever, but against 780s or R9 290s or whatever, it's definitely leading the top. And probably its best ability is the ability to render so many different 4K streams. NVIDIA actually demoed this by recreating the moon lunar landing in 4K live. Not by necessarily doing an entire live render of all the different light points and everything, but what they did is they broke the image down into different cubes called voxels and then rendered all of those and then recombined them all together, creating a very stunning image, yet on a fairly energy efficient card with not necessarily overwhelming specs. So, and then the ability to output that to several different displays at once is truly amazing. And for the price point too, $550 to render 4K streams, that was unheard of just a couple years ago, and now here it is today. This is an awesome card, and I can't wait until NVIDIA really starts rolling it out. Other people start, Asus really gets their performance series on it or whatever, and it just becomes really awesome. And in our final bit of news, we're going to be talking about jobs and the overall PC market. So apparently the PC market is not really doing as well in the face of mobile competition like the phones, Android, iPhone, as well as the tablets, and Ultrabook markets are really just exploding. So the overall, desktop or PC world, I mean, even the Ultrabooks aren't selling the best, it's more going mobile, but overall in the PC world, they're not doing so well. First of all, Toshiba is shuttering over 900 jobs as they restructure themselves away from the consumer-oriented PC market and more towards the business. Their Vouchros have been selling way more than their satellites and their other consumer brands, so they're going to shift more towards that. And while still offering some consumer notebooks and computers, they're going to limit themselves there and shift more towards just offering their business clients who they can sell a little bit more profitably to, because business people require a little bit more substantial hardware. But in the software side, Microsoft is really going through the ringer. They already laid off over 1,000 jobs about a month ago, and a lot of people got cut from that. One of them being the notable YouTuber known as Barnacules, and many others. And now they're releasing another 2,100 people. The new CEO came in and took it over, and I think he really saw what a little bit of a dead weight Microsoft had become. They had kind of become stagnant, their software wasn't as great, and they were just becoming dead weight. I think that they had a lot of people that they didn't necessarily need to have. So what he's doing is going in and trimming the fat, as it were, and just trying to slim down the company to make it more profitable and really a competitor in this ever-shifting market. As sad as it is to see these people go, and I can definitely commiserate, I mean, I've lost my job as well. Losing your job sucks. What am I going to do for food or rent or whatever? From a business person standpoint as well, I can see why these people were let go. The company, Microsoft in and of itself, has really become bloated, and they need to trim themselves down to really compete. So I believe that the move, while sad and disappointing for those people, was good. But it really shows that people are starting to wake up and see that mobile is really becoming where the market is going. So in order to compete, people really have to follow that. So Microsoft has to up their game on the mobile ante, whether it's tablets or phones or PCs or whatever. They have to follow that way. Toshiba is following that way and shifting more towards their mobile electronics as well as their business stuff. And that's the way the market's going. So jobs are having to be trimmed as companies start to readjust toward this ever-changing market. So yeah, guys, that's some of the latest news in technology. Hope you enjoyed the show. Let me know in the comment box down below. What do you think about the iPhones? I know I asked this last week, but are you going to be getting one? Also, what about the NVIDIA GTX 980? Is that a card that are you really impressed with? I mean, 4K displays through 3 different display ports and an HDMI. I mean, that's a pretty awesome card. And for only $550, well, that's a little bit of a high price point now. I know it's going to come down in the future. And even still, 4K displays off one card, pretty awesome. So yeah, thanks for watching. You can check out last week's episode over here and what I talked about down here. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!